ladies, gents, and everyones. It is Thursday, June 3rd, and once again, we are here to talk about this week's space and astronomy news. I missed you. Let's start with a little bit of bad news. So the ESA had a briefing about the JWST, the James Webb Space Telescope, on Tuesday, and they basically confirmed at this meeting that the October 31st date is going to slip. Now, if you'll recall, this is not due to an issue with the telescope, it's actually an issue because of the Ariane 5 launch vehicle. This was an issue that was noted on 2 launches last year, and the issue has been corrected, and it's not really relevant to the launch configuration for the JWST. However, there are 2 launches scheduled prior to the JWST that got pushed back because of this issue, and so those launches now need to go ahead before the JWST can be launched. The ESA basically said that a mid-November launch is approximately correct, so we will probably be getting more updated dates soon as these things get settled, but still hopefully aiming before the end of the year. New NASA Administrator Bill Nelson gave his first State of NASA address yesterday. This was a 45-minute speech, which basically covered an overview of things that we already knew about the space agency's mission and upcoming programs, such as its continued dedication to Artemis, the mission that is going to return humans to the moon, including the first women to go to the moon. However, they didn't give an updated timeline for this, which was originally set to be by 2024, but it is now looking a little bit unrealistic. But we still don't have a kind of new target date or know if we're actually going to hit that 2024 for Artemis or not. However, at the end of the speech, there was a new announcement, and that was the announcement of the 2 Discovery Program missions that have been finally selected from the 4 finalists. And those 2 missions are both going to Venus. So this is really exciting. I was definitely a little bit surprised that both of the Venus missions were selected. I thought at least one would be. So 2 of the 4 missions of the finalists were Venus missions, and those were both of the missions that were selected. So the Discovery program at NASA aims to develop these kind of medium-scale, smaller missions, as opposed to, say, the flagship missions like the JWST. So these are kind of smaller scale, they have a little bit shorter timelines, smaller budgets, about $500 million max, and there's a process for submitting. Scientists and engineers can submit all these proposals and they go through the selection process. So back in February of 2020, the 4 finalists were announced, and they have been going through this final selection process since then. And so now the 2 finalists that will be moving forward have been announced, and they are Da Vinci and Veritas. So Da Vinci is a probe that is actually going to descend into the atmosphere of Venus in order to study its composition, and it will also take these really high-resolution images of the geological tesserae features on Venus, which is really exciting. Veritas, on the other hand, is an orbiter of Venus, and it's going to be taking really detailed 3D measurements to create a basically complete topographical map of Venus, as well as investigating its geology and its volcanism. These missions will be expected to launch sometime in the late 2020s, 2028 to 2030 or so. So really exciting. Venus is right next door, and NASA has not sent a mission to Venus in many decades, and so this is really exciting. We've talked quite a bit about space debris in the past, and there's actually been an incident related to space debris on the ISS. So the Canadian Space Agency announced this weekend that the robotic arm on the space agency, called Canadarm2, was actually damaged by some strike with a space debris. This damage was noted during a routine inspection on May 12th, and there's a hole in the robotic arm that's about 5 millimeters or about 1/4 inch in diameter. Luckily, analysis indicated that the performance of the arm does not seem to be affected, and short-term operations are not going to be delayed because of this. However, it is still concerning that there's, a hole in this robotic arm. Such a small hole probably came from very small strike. The thing with space debris is it's traveling at very, very fast speeds, so even very small objects can be very damaging. And while the space agencies on Earth track the larger objects, about softball size or larger, and there's many thousands and thousands of these objects being tracked, partly to help avoid collisions with things like the ISS, these small particles really can't be tracked, and there's countless numbers of them, ranging from pebbles, rock, dust, to even chips of paint that could be coming off of other objects. And so yeah, it's a crazy world up there. Not world up there. The Dark Energy Survey is a huge effort to basically map out a lot of the night sky, and they recently had a very big release of data. So they took observations of about 5,000 square degrees of the night sky over 6 years, which is almost 1/8 of the total sky. And now the first 3 years of data have been analyzed and released last Thursday. This data release included the locations of 226 million galaxies. This is basically the largest map of the nearby universe that's ever been created. One thing that's really interesting about this data is that because it's looking at galaxies near us, it is probing the recent universe, and it can tell us things about dark energy and dark matter, and we can compare that with sort of inferences that we make from the CMB, the cosmic microwave background, which probes the very early universe. So this gives us a chance to compare our understanding at different time periods of the universe. And actually with this new data release, they do seem to agree at the current level of accuracy. There are 30 scientific papers that are being released to cover all of these results that came out of this analysis. So it's pretty awesome, and you can check out the DES website for more information. Lastly, I want to share a new show that you may be interested in. This is called the Cosmos Show, and it's going to be a new live interactive streaming show that will air on Twitch and YouTube. During the show, you'll have the chance to win prizes by identifying objects in the night sky or answering trivia questions. You'll also get to ask any questions of the host and the co-stars and special guests, as well as discussing popular sci-fi and things like that. This is hosted by Dr. Samuel Singer of the Wyoming Stargazing Organization, and the co-stars include yours truly, among other amazing co-stars that I'm really excited about. This is going to air every other Tuesday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. We have a lot of time zones in the US. And the very first episode is going to be in a little less than 2 weeks on June 15th, and the topic is going to be space junk, and special guest is going to be retired astronaut Scott Altman. So yeah, definitely please check that out if you're interested. Would love to see you there. Well, that's all I have for you this week. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all your support, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Have a good one. Bye.